forbidden fruit. Now there's a phrase that crackles with danger, doesn't it? The kind of phrase that tastes like ash and longing at the same time. It's the very phrase that could describe the topic we're discussing today. Why avoidant men reject love. A subject so achingly human, so intimately tangled in the roots of fear and desire, that to understand it is to hold a mirror to the soul. You see, love, true, vulnerable, terrifying love, is not rejected by men because it is unappealing. It's rejected because it is unbearable. Let me take you into the mind of such a man. Picture a boy, bright eyes maybe, curious at first. But life, as it often does, begins its slow chiseling. A home with no warmth, a father with silence like stone, a mother with love that came with conditions, like a loan from a crooked banker, something you owe and owe and owe, but never really possess. And so, the boy learns. He learns that closeness is dangerous, that vulnerability is a trap, that love is a storm you don't survive. He grows into a man, outwardly strong, possibly charming. Oh, he can smile when it suits him. He can make you feel like the only person in the room. But deep down, he is a fortress. His walls aren't built of stone. They're built of shame, fear, and meticulous calculations of risk. And here's the tragic twist. He doesn't see this as fear. He sees it as logic, as discipline, as survival. Now, allow me to tell you about James. James was a friend of mine once, a retired naval officer. Stoic, impeccably polite, the sort of man who'd rather bleed to death than admit his shoelace was untied. He fell in love late, 55, I believe. Met a woman who cracked his shell, if only a little. She was soft-spoken, curious, asked questions he never expected, and for a while, he felt something dangerous. He called me one night, whiskey in his voice, said, "Tony, she makes me feel seen. I haven't felt that since I was 12. I told him that was a good thing. He disagreed. Do you know what happened the last time I was seen? My father slapped the softness out of me for crying at my mother's funeral. You see, to James, like so many men, love wasn't warmth, it was exposure, and exposure was threat. Avoidant men don't fear you. They fear what you make them feel. They fear what you'll need from them. Emotional availability, vulnerability, trust. You might as well ask a man to breathe underwater. They are risk assessors, constant grinding analysts of human behavior. Being in love with them is like standing in a spotlight, under surveillance. They notice every shift in tone, every sigh, every perceived contradiction. And not because they are unkind, but because their survival has depended on catching the moment someone's mask slips. And love? Love demands that they remove their mask. That is intolerable. Have you ever seen a man try to love with a locked jaw and a clenched fist? It's like watching someone attempt to write poetry with a sledgehammer. Love is a language they never learned. Worse, were punished for even trying to learn. And yet, they crave it. Oh, how they crave it. There is no cruelty quite like being wired for connection and conditioned to reject it. Let's imagine another scenario. A woman, let's call her Clara, meets an avoidant man named David. At first, it's magic. He listens intently, asks questions, makes her laugh. She thinks finally, someone who gets it. But weeks pass. Then the silence creeps in. The unanswered messages, the subtle withdrawal. When she asks if everything is all right, he says, "I just need some space." Now, Clara's mind spins. She replays every moment. Did she ask too much? Did she scare him off? No, Clara. You merely touched something he thought he'd buried. Avoidant men don't push love away because you've done something wrong. They push it away because you've done something right. You've reached the soft core behind the armor, and they don't know what to do with it. They're not monsters. They're not manipulators, not the majority of them. They're just men who learned that love was an open flame, and that those who touch it get burned. There's a line from a play I once read. He built his home in a cave to protect himself, and wondered why the sun never came in. That is the tragedy of the avoidant man. He builds walls so high, he forgets what light feels like. And here's the most heartbreaking part. Many of these men would rather live with the ache of loneliness than the uncertainty of love. Because in loneliness, they are safe. In love, they are vulnerable. And for them, vulnerability is synonymous with danger. But hope still flickers. If you're someone who loves a man like this, understand, he is not your project. You cannot fix him, but you can invite him. Invite him into clarity, into emotional honesty, into trust. Speak plainly. Set clear expectations. Be consistent. Be kind. Yes, but not a doormat. Show him that love doesn't mean surrendering freedom. It means sharing it. But if he cannot come with you, do not martyr yourself upon his silence. Because here's the secret he'll never tell you. Deep down, he's hoping someone will prove him wrong. Someone who sees the storm and stays, but not at the cost of themselves. So why do avoidant men reject love? Because they've mistaken survival for life. And until they are willing to risk the death of their walls, they will never know the birth of something deeper. But if they do, if they take that terrifying step, they just might find that love was never a threat. It was home. And perhaps, just perhaps, that old boy inside, the one who cried at his mother's funeral, might finally rest. Now, wouldn't that be something?
If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need. If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need.